Welcome back to the Real Quick with Mike Swick podcast. Today's guest is Javier Mendez, the founder of AKA, the head trainer of Team AKA, a man who's built champion after champion, star after star, my trainer for my entire UFC career, as well as one of my best friends and also my business partner. He's been on the show many times before. I love having him. It's great talking to him, and he's just a great person. So let's get started. Javier, what's up?
Not much, Swick. Just hibernating a little bit some days. Some days I'm out. Some days I'm mostly in, though.
Yeah, so
How
y'all
are you doing over there?
Yeah, well, we're getting back to normal. Actually, really normal now. So we've been, obviously, we've been closed, and then we opened up for just Muay Thai. We couldn't do clinching. We couldn't do MMA. We couldn't do grappling. And I think there's going to be more things open now on July 1st in the next 2 days. So I don't know. And the international flights are going to open. So we actually can get customers, which is actually nice. When you have a destination gym, it's always good when people can actually fly to the destination. So
Right.
yeah, that's gonna help us out a lot. So I think this month July will be a lot better than June was, and definitely better than the last 3 months. So I guess we'll see. I just hope there's not like a second outbreak of this thing, because Thailand's quick to shut everything down, and I don't really want to be shut down for another couple months.
Yeah, I'm not so sure shutting anybody down now after this ordeal and watching and observing. And like Sweden didn't shut down, and their economy didn't hurt one bit, and their outbreak was not huge by any means. They're not even in the top by any means. So I don't know. Was it the wise thing to shut down? I don't know. One thing's for damn sure. This thing is a serious, it's a serious virus. That's for damn sure. And it's very contagious. I've had a lot of friends that have had it. And as soon as one gets it, the whole clan gets it, a whole family gets it. And some of the ones that had it, they all say the same thing, that they feel like they were going to die.
Wow.
So yeah. No.
Is this young, healthy people?
Yeah, some were young and healthy. Yep. One of them was actually a fighter that trained with us, and he talked to one of the other fighters from the gym, and he said, "Oh man, he got it. He thought he was going to die.
Holy cow!
It was the worst." Yeah. So no, this thing, it just depends. Some people, it affects different. Like two of the people that I know, the family, two of them were diabetic.
Okay.
And I thought for sure, to be honest with you, before they got it, I thought they would be goners, being on the fact that they were pretty bad diabetics, right? But no, they made it. They made it through. But they're not feeling too good.
Wow. So AK headquarters is still shut down? Is it open, or is it?
No, we're still shut down. We don't even know what's going on. They're going county by county, and our county still is not open. Other counties around us are open. Like, I actually live in another county, so they're open here where I'm at. It's a small little, like 72,000 people live in the county, so it's open. It's a little weird, going in and to see the restaurants half full, and then every other table you can't use, things like that, and having to go wherever you go, you have to wear a mask, otherwise they won't serve you.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
So once you're sitting at the table,
kind of weird.
Once you're sitting at the table and you're eating, I guess you can take it off, and so.
Yeah. When you're sitting down to eat, you take it off, but then when you enter, you gotta have it with you.
I haven't even been out to eat or anything. Like, I've ate at home and at work, and I haven't even went to a restaurant or anything in 3 months. They're opening up a nightclub, Illusion, the big nightclub here, this weekend. But it's like the rules are like, you can't be close to people, you can't dance, you can't sing, you can't. I think you can drink, but like minimal. It's like, what are they doing? Like, how is that going to be? That's going to be strange. Well, hopefully this thing will end soon, and then we can get back to normal, because I tell you what, talk about complacency. Like, I'm not going to take for granted just being able to go to work and watching the gym be full and training and stuff like that anymore, because, like, who would have ever thought that would just end? Who would have ever thought that I'd build this gym and then it would just have to be closed by the government for 3 straight months? Like, that's crazy.
Well, not only just you, the whole world.
Well, right.
Only two countries. Was it Sweden and Iceland or something like that? The two right next to each other? I think they're the only two, right? I could be wrong, but I think they're the only two that didn't shut anything down.
That's crazy.
I could be wrong. Sweden for sure. I'm not sure about Iceland, but Sweden for sure. And if you look at the graphs, they didn't get hit that bad. They did get hit, but not like we got hit.
I assume
nobody got hit like U.S. U.S. got smashed.
I assume in the next like week or so, it's going to get really bad in the U.S. because of all the protesting and stuff. Like there's so many groups of people. Like either it's going to get really bad or we're being lied to by somebody because like it's like hundreds of thousands of people in like very close distance from each other.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think that. Who knows the truth, right?
Yeah.
All we do know is that we're still shut down. So obviously it's serious. But how serious is it? We don't know, because if you look at the news, you don't know whether the news is real or not. Sometimes it's real and other times it's not. I mean, the majority of the time I've been watching the news, they're just picking on the president, and they're not talking about news, just picking on the president. I go, man, can we talk about other things other than what he thinks or this or that? It's like, come on.
It is crazy how much they dissect him in a state like this. Like, I mean, there's people that agree with him and don't agree with him and like him and don't like him, but it's like when we're facing these problems, people would rather talk about the president and how he's not handling the problem than actually just talking about the problem itself and trying to focus on that, which is crazy to me.
And I'm like, geez, it's like, it's I don't know. It's like they're using this pandemic for their agenda to oust this guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, let his work oust him. But no, you're trying to poison the water on the guy. He does enough dumb things on his own. Let him do them.
Yeah, I don't get very political, but like, I mean, I have common sense, and any president that's sitting as the president of the United States that gets hit with this virus is not going to be an expert at it. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell is he supposed to know the answers? And then he's being told what to say and what to do by experts, and the experts change their opinion. Like the CDC and the WHO, the World Health Organization, they're changing their opinion. They'll tell you a fact, and then like a week later they'll say, "Oh no, that's not correct. We have new evidence saying this." He has to eat it. So, like, when he's repeating what the experts tell him, I mean, it makes him look bad because, like, it changes. None of us know what's going on.
No.
Including the
experts.
They change
it all the time. Like, they just added 3 new things that say you have COVID, and diarrhea was something they didn't add before, and nausea. And what was the other one? Diarrhea, nausea, and one more that's another symptom that wasn't added before. So they added 3 more symptoms. So again, for all we know, next week they'll have 3 more symptoms. You just don't know. This thing is, it's like it's highly intelligent to some degree, for a virus.
I have to believe that it does have something to do with the climate because we had so many Chinese tourists in at the time of this pandemic, and then even after the pandemic or after the virus got like widespread because we didn't know exactly where it was coming from and who was doing it, So for a good month, we still had Chinese people, like a lot of them, coming into Thailand, and especially right from Wu. I think we had direct flights from Wu, China to Phuket, like 2 flights a day. So for an entire month, when Wu was just getting absolutely destroyed by this virus, they were flying into Phuket, by the plane load twice a day. And we've never had over, I think, 200 people on the island that's been tested positive. And like right now, there's like 0 people. There's 0 active cases, except I think there's like a couple people in the hospital. It's crazy, and I think it might be the weather, like they said.
Yeah, remember when I was there in December, I had that nasty cough and I had that slight fever.
And we might have had it,
unbearable. I couldn't. Remember, I was miserable.
Yeah.
It was like I was hanging around, but I wasn't hanging around. I was very miserable during that time.
Yeah.
It's like, what a way to spend my 3rd time there. The great thing is my son had an unbelievable time. That was the good part.
Yeah, that was important. And I had like a cough back in January too. It wasn't too bad, but I hope I had it too and just got over it. But getting back to, I got to put you on the spot on the podcast. So Manel Kape is one of our fighters who he won the Ryzen World Championship, as you know, and then he just signed with the UFC and everything. So what he's fighting, hopefully he's trying. There's nothing official, but he's trying to get on a fight at the Apex coming up here soon. So he wants to know if it's cool if he can come down there and train with you guys, and then just get acclimated and then go fight.
That's not a question.
So you have to say yes because you're on the podcast.
He's AKA. Come on.
No, he's gonna love it. Like
he can walk in unannounced. It doesn't matter. He's AKA.
I knew what you were gonna say, but I just
anybody you have, anybody we have, we're all brothers. That doesn't matter. We all take care of each other. We all fly the same banner. We have the same goal in mind to be the best. And no, he's AKA. So he don't have to ask permission. You don't have to ask me. He just shows up.
You're gonna like him too, Jav. He's your type of guy, man. He trains hard and he's flashy. You're gonna have to you'll probably want to mellow down his flashiness a little bit. He's kind of got that Salim flash, but he gets away with it, and he's got power, and he's got great takedown defense. So
if he's comfortable and he gets away with it, I would leave him alone. I would just say the things he doesn't get away with, work on them.
Yeah.
If he can't work on them, then I would say cut that out. Only the things that don't work is what I would say cut out. But his flashiness works for him, then he should always carry that with him.
And that's what made him a star. I mean, he's a superstar in Japan. I mean, it's funny watching us build up Amir and take him from zero MMA experience to being the main event against Crow Cop in the World Grand Prix, and see how big of a star he became. And it's like Manel's doing the same thing. So I got to watch two fighters already from AKA Thailand go from basically obscurity to being stars and having floods of fans.
Just signed with the UFC too, right?
Amir did, because he saw you in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or whatever, but something happened. I don't know. I think because of maybe visa issues or something with Iran or something, but something happened. Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
No,
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought I just recently saw something with Ali and him, the manager.
Maybe.
With Khabib.
Maybe.
I saw something that he signed. He signed. Oh, he either signed with the UFC or he signed with Ali.
No, I think he signed with Ali.
Yeah, he signed with Ali.
I think so, yeah.
Good move. That's a good move. Ali's a great manager.
Very
good move on Amir's part. Very good move.
Yeah, we stay in touch, but he's in Iran right now. And then now with Iran issuing I just read this morning, but they issued a arrest warrant for Donald Trump, President Trump. I don't think that's going to help the matters of Iranians coming to America. So
no,
yeah.
I saw a video too where the parliament over there had a meeting and they were all chanting and singing "Death to America, Death to America." I think that's a little bit more aggressive than issuing a warrant.
It's crazy, man.
And hey, it's politics. We're not involved.
I feel like everyone I talked, I mean, we deal with a lot of international people coming through AKA Thailand, and I'm not just fighters in general, but just everyone. It seems like America's the spot to be. I'm biased. I'm taking myself out of the fact that I'm American, but it seems like America's the place to be that everyone wants to go to and live the American dream, be free and have a career and be a star, or just have a business and do something. But yet there's still so many people that hate America so much. It's so weird that it seems like the main country people want to kind of go to, but it's also the place that gets all the hate if there's anything wrong in the world. It's kind of crazy how that works out.
Yeah, and I kind of see it both ways too. I see the bad and the good, the greatness of America, and then I see the bad of America, and I see the greatness in other countries, and I see the bad there too, so. I think everybody looks at the overall everything. Look at Thailand. Thailand's unbelievable, but then Thailand's not unbelievable. It just depends on what particular area you're talking about and what needs work on. Every country appears to be lacking something, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how many checks does it hit? Does it hit this check, or does it only half the checks and the rest is negatives? And yeah. I've noticed that every country's that way. Every country's that way.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So, what about? I gotta ask about Khabib. What's he doing? What's he up to? And also, how's his father? Because obviously I haven't talked to him, and I hope everything's going okay because I haven't heard any updates. So hopefully everything's going okay. And is he just chilling in Dagestan and training, or how's it going over there?
Well, there's a lot of things going on at the present time. What's going on with him? I contacted him about a week and a half ago. I haven't been able to talk to him since. We've been missing each other. Today he called me twice. I called him yesterday twice, and we miss each other. I guess the connection's really bad, through the internet and whatnot. But from what I gathered last time, he's in Moscow. Khabib's in Moscow training for what's going to happen, but he's not making any decisions on what's going on until he knows his father's clear.
Right.
That he don't have to worry about his father. And he says that they allow him like 30 minutes a day to go in to see his father. So he'll go in and he'll talk to his father. He'll hold his hand. He said his father can understand him.
Nice.
He opens his eyes now, but the improvement is so minor. And I'm really anxious to find out where he's at now. Last time I spoke to him, he still was he's in bad shape, So yeah. I'm just hoping God will give us more time with him and everything to work out great, and then Khabib can resume what he needs to do. He is training every day over there, like he always does, anyways. Yeah. Just he's not going to be caught unprepared, and he also has his cousin Umar, who's fighting on July 25th, and Tahir, another one of their champions from the Guerrilla Fighting Championships. Tahir is the 125 champion. He switched over to the UFC, so he'll be fighting. So Khabib will be there, I think, with Islam Makhachev. They're going to be working the corner with somebody else of those two guys on July 25th. For me, I can't go because obviously I got Daniel Cormier here that I'm working with. So my main thing has always been Khabib, as it is anyways. But when Khabib's around, those guys are around, I work with them, too. But, Khabib can't come to the U.S. as of yet, So we're still in that situation where the flight restrictions. But I was told that July 7th, I believe, that Abu Dhabi is going to open the doors for all flights to come in now. So it's probably true, right? Because then we got the UFC coming there. So yeah, so that's where we're at with that right now. He wants to fight, and Justin Gaethje is his opponent, which is a great opponent, and he's getting ready for Justin, and it's just a matter of the UFC giving him a date. And I'm thinking, it could be as early as September or as late as November, if everything goes right. So we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Abu Dhabi. I know September 18th or 19th, the UFC is going to Abu Dhabi, and then I heard in November they're coming back to Abu Dhabi again. So I believe if Khabib is going to fight, it's going to be there, but we'll see. There's no fight offer as of yet.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on, as the coach? I mean, obviously you're biased, but I'm just curious, like overall, like taking yourself kind of out of the, because we don't want to get into specifics of the training, we don't want to get into anything like that, but just taking yourself kind of out of that position. In my personal opinion, I feel Gaethje could be one of the, and I said this numerous times before the Ferguson fight. I felt like Gaethje could possibly be one of his most dangerous fights because he has to make sure and not get in that brawl and not get caught with those punches, because Gaethje just throws them from everywhere. That's a dangerous fighter who has that knockout power and throws and just doesn't care. He doesn't care about getting hit. He doesn't care about moving forward. Obviously, I know that Khabib's a better fighter overall and can dominate him in almost every area, but he's a fighter that can just, it's like a snake, one strike and it could be it. So I feel like it could be as tough as test.
It can be, but it's not something he hasn't run into already. Right. The one thing is that when everybody's always thinking, well, Khabib's got to worry about not, taking, Justin down, and it's going to be a lot harder than he thinks. But it's like there's a lot of ways Khabib can finish him. You don't have to take him to the ground. You can also hurt him on the stand-up. Khabib can punch really well, and he's a better striker than people give him credit. And the reason why he's known more for the ground, because that's his strength, and that's why I'm always on him. If you hear videos, you always hear me always talking about take it to the ground. Okay, now punch, in, take in, shoot, and especially on the last fight with Dustin, you can hear me all over the place talking about set up, boom, boom, right, boom, shoot. The exact everything I'm saying he's doing right to a T. Right as my words are going, he's doing the move, and so that in itself is why people are looking at Khabib taking Justin to the ground. And guess what? Because that's exactly what I'm going to say. Take him to the ground. Why? Justin can't hang with Khabib on the ground, but he can on the stand-up, and you're right. It could be one strike with him. So I'm not looking to do a stand-up with the guy. I'm looking the same plan as always, but he's going to be difficult to take down because, you know, he's got the champ, the Ishman right now training with him at 170.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he's world-class wrestler.
Yeah.
And he's the best right now, the welterweight in the world, you know. So obviously he's got great training, you know. So it ain't gonna be that easy to take him down. But we never look at every opponent Khabib fights as an easy takedown. Some of these guys have been very difficult. But the thing is, as you know, with Khabib, he's gonna take you down once, okay? And once he takes you down once, it's over because he's gonna take you down again and again and again. So it's a matter of getting you down. Once the first time's there, it's gonna continue when he wants it to, and he'll just put more pressure on you. Justin is dangerous with the boxing. He's dangerous with the kicking, and he's got great wrestling defense, and he's a good wrestler. So, but we'll see. It's going to be an exciting fight, and you're right. It could very well be the toughest challenge he's had. Could be.
Like my thing is like
we won't know.
I don't see Khabib getting one punch knockout or something like, or sorry, getting knocked out with one punch or anything. But the reason I say it could be a tough test is if he does happen to get caught, and then he has to fight through that, then it could make could be a little bit less effective as usual. But you know, I'm curious. Actually, the most thing I'm curious about is to see Justin when he runs into that Khabib wall. Like when he, you know, you always see that impact in a fighter when they first meet up with Khabib and realize, holy shit, this is a different level fighter. And it's like, I'm curious to see how Justin's going to handle that when he feels how strong he is, because he's ridiculously strong. And then his wrestling is not conventional. So like when I wrestle with him, I've said this in the past, but when he grabs you, he takes over your body and your balance. Like it's like you don't feel balanced anymore the second he grabs you, even from the clinch without even the takedown yet. Like it's like he can put you where he wants, and he makes you feel uncomfortable and makes you feel like you don't have your footing. So it's like he has a lot of things that's gonna, I think, really shock. Even though you know what to expect kind of from Khabib, no one really does. That's why you keep hearing it over and over again when guys fight him. Like, wow, you know, he really is good at that, or he's really good at that. They knew he's good at what he's good at before they fight him, but until you feel it, you know. And I'm curious how Justin's going to react to that when he gets in there and feels that pressure, that mentality, that strength, and that balance and unorthodox type of wrestling versus the traditional.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. It's everybody thinks they can do this with him till they get in there with her, and then they have a speech to go, man, I did not expect that. And like Dustin Poirier said the same thing. Yep. Goes, man, I thought I was ready, but once he got a hold of me, it's like I didn't realize, you know, they all think that, you know, and at the beginning, but then when they go with him, then they go, I wasn't ready for that. And you know why you're not ready for that? Because you never felt it before. Yeah, and like exactly. You said, you never felt it before. And that's going to be the test for us too, is how well Justin adjusts to that, and how much of what I'm saying they believe or don't believe. Because if they don't believe what I'm saying, they go in there not believing it, then they feel it, then that's even a bigger shock. But if they go in believing it, they come in there and they feel it, then it helps them a little better, you know. But if they don't believe it, that's going to be bad on them, you know. And for me, I'm expecting everything, so I believe everything about him, which makes my job easier, so we prepare for everything. Yeah,
and maybe that it helps them, because like I said, until you feel it, you don't really understand. So, like, you know, you see Khabib go out there and he takes someone down, and as someone who's looking at him, like, if I'm going to fight him or something, I'm like, okay, he got a takedown. How can I defend that takedown? You know, whatever. But it's like what you don't realize from watching is that takedown wasn't what you see. Like when he connects with you and grabs you, how your body feels when he grabs you versus a conventional wrestler or somebody else, it's a whole different feeling. Like he completely, like, it's almost like he takes your balance just completely away from you, and so it's like just watching a takedown isn't. It does, in other words, it doesn't do it justice compared to getting taken down. Like, I know what to expect when I've grappled with him, and it doesn't matter when he gets in on me and he clinches me and he locks his hands or he gets in position. It's like you just feel like there's nothing you can do. Like, you just feel completely vulnerable, and like then he takes you down. So it's crazy, man. Yeah. He's just a level above everyone, I think.
He is, and I think he's the greatest grappler MMA fighter in my opinion of all time.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody that I can think of that's greater than him. As a grappler MMA fighter, I really don't. I don't see anybody that's been as dominant as he has been on the ground. I mean, and that's like talking about people like Damon Maya, who I think is incredible too. And all these other incredible guys on the ground, but he just happens to be one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to show, I think, in this fight. Hopefully it happens, and hopefully his father heals up and gets better, because I know he's a big part of his life, and he's such a good guy, and it's sad to see someone like that be sick, like somebody that just does so much good, and he must be so proud of Khabib and how big. I mean, he's got to be the most famous Russian, next to Putin, pretty much on the planet.
Yeah, he's a national hero.
So his dad must be so proud.
They told me, I said, "Oh my God, yeah, he's really big, really really big," and I want his father. I really really hoping and praying that God will give him more time with us, because I want him there, and I want it to be in Abu Dhabi, because Abu Dhabi, his father can go, not a problem, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I want it to be in Abu Dhabi, not for no other reason other than his father, God helping us and keeping him with us, that he can be there in the corner with me, and that's the greatest feeling for me, having his father and Khabib and Abu Dhabi again. That would be the best.
Yeah, no, I see it, and you talk about him all the time leading up to the fights and stuff. Because I haven't talked to Khabib, and obviously him better than I do, training with him every day and stuff. Is there, not looking past the fight, obviously I'm asking you instead of him anyway, but is there any other fights that interest him in the division that he really, really wants, do you think? Or what do you think? Because he's already the champ. He's already pretty much the best fighter in the world, I think, and he's just going to keep proving it. This is another tough test that he's going to have. But if he passes this test and beats Gaethje, what is it that he's striving for, do you think? Is there an opponent or a goal that he's really going for?
Yeah, he wants to get that special fight, and that's why he tried to get GSP.
Big fight, super fight.
And they were working on that, or he wants that legacy fight,
Gotcha.
And Gaethje's definitely a step in the right direction, and definitely an opponent that, man, you better take him serious, because he's legit, and the guy, he's coming. And remember how many fights he's had in the UFC? How many bonuses has he had?
Yeah.
He had 8 bonuses, 6 fights, 8 bonuses.
Yeah.
How impressive is that?
It's crazy.
Right? I mean, the guy's an amazing fighter, and I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve, man. He's a warrior all the way through, man, and he'll come. And then the last fight, he proved he's a warrior that can actually take directions from a great corner, which he has, and listened really well, and he followed the instructions of his coach, and which enabled him to make that victory much easier than it could have been. It could have been a lot harder for him, but I believe he got great instruction, and he followed the instructions, and it made his fight that much easier, than it could have been. Could have been a lot harder for him.
I think you're absolutely right, and that's the reason I asked, was because a win over Gaethje, it's not. I mean, a win over Gaethje is like he cleaned out the division. You know what I mean? So it seems like what's left for him, if he wants to do something bigger, would have to be that super fight with somebody that's like a GSP type or something, because he's cleaned the division out. I mean, the only person left was Ferguson, and then Gaethje beat Ferguson. So it's like, who left really?
And then another fight with Ferguson. Ferguson would have to win another fight, which he can easily do, and I would probably think that's what Ferguson is going to do. That guy, man, he's he no joke. He just it wasn't his night that night, and I just know one thing for damn sure: that wasn't Tony Ferguson that showed up that night. That's not the Tony I'm used to seeing. That night, that wasn't the Tony, and I don't know what happened. I just know this: you cut weight like he did, back to back, the way he did it. If you did that, I'd be chewing your head off, and I'd be thinking, no, you ain't doing that, And he did something that I would never allow any of you guys to do, and that. Me or my crazy Bob, we'd be on you, and we'd be telling you, no effing way are you going to do that. That's stupid. Why would you do that? I don't care if it's personal, this or that. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
It's too close. It's too close into great fights like that. And this guy did it, which great. You got incredible courage, incredible balls, but was it the right strategic move to make your body be its ultimate best fight time for this next great challenge that he had. And I don't think it was. I think personally it hurt him. And I could be wrong. But that's just my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And, I feel like the Ferguson that we saw fight Gaethje, whatever the reason, cracked kind of under that pressure of Gaethje. And that Gaethje, or that Ferguson, would have been like smashed out by Khabib. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a rough fight with someone like Khabib. So unless he came back stronger, I'm not even really that interested in that fight anymore. But that would be the most interesting fight if he could put a couple wins together after, obviously if Khabib beats Gaethje and doesn't get a super fight.
Exactly. But I think he just needs one good win. You don't need a whole bunch of wins. He just needs one good one.
And just show up good and healthy and perform right like he has for the 12 fights before that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because remember, people wanted to see that fight 5 times now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I myself don't care for it because, it's like I just feel it's jinxed, man.
Yeah, there is something weird about
that fight, the 5th fight. They asked me, and I said, "Are you concerned?" I go, "Yeah, I'm concerned." You can hear my interviews. I say, "Yeah, I'm concerned." I go, "Why?" Because the obvious. They tried to go 4 times and it didn't happen. Look what happened. Tony, freak accident, jacks up his, and I was telling myself, "What next?" I'm thinking that, and look what happens. The world crumbles. Shoot. Yeah. So do I want a 6th fight? Absolutely not. For that reason, not that he's not worthy, and not that he's not a great challenge. He is worthy, and he's a great challenge. It's just I'm just afraid the damn thing won't go off.
What's up, everybody? I am here in Thailand. This is the first time I've ever been here. Been dying to come here for years. The great Mike Swick, he's one of the big reasons he's been trying to pull me down here. What he built down here, AKA Thailand, is incredible. There's people here from all over the world. You can train mixed martial arts here, jiu-jitsu. They have weightlifting, they have cardio, and obviously they have Muay Thai, boxing, everything. I'm telling you guys, I know everybody wants to go to Thailand because Thailand's so cool, but you can't come to Thailand without coming to AKA Thailand. Come on.
I assume that Abu Dhabi and Yas Island is going to be without an audience at the rate things are going and everything. And you did the fight before with no audience, right? Like you went to where'd you go? You went to
No, I didn't go to any of those fights.
Oh, you haven't had a no audience fight?
No, the only experience I have with no audience is the Ultimate Fighter. But we've had 3 seasons of those, so where I've coached. So with Koscheck, DC, and Kane. So I got experience where just the fans are not there, just
What do you think
the Ultimate Fighter?
What do you think the dynamic is or changes with the coaching when it's so quiet? Like, I mean, you can hear every single. I know sometimes you can hear your opponent's coaching. I've heard it in the past, but not as much as my own corner's coaching. I think just because you're listening for that voice. But man, when there's no audience, you can hear like every breath, every punch, and the coaches like you can clearly hear. Do you think that changes a little bit of the dynamic, like to coach your fighter?
Because the other corner could be listening to what you're saying and they'll strategize against you.
Yeah.
The fighter could be listening and strategize against you. I mean, man, there's so many things that can happen. It's not going to be one of those scenarios like Mike Perry bringing his girlfriend in to the corner, and he went out there. He did a genius move in some degree because some fighters, and I'm one of those fighters myself, I never listened to my corner. I didn't care what they said. I just did what I wanted to do. I was in control, what I needed to be in control of. So he doesn't need a corner, but he's very rare. Most people need a corner. He didn't, and because he knows what he wants to do and he knows what he can do. So therefore, he had no one else in his mind other than himself. So he pulled off a brilliant fight, man. He fought to his strengths and he fought the way he wanted to fight. And he was comfortable. He was very comfortable. So for people that think that, oh, you can't do that like that. Well, yeah, some fighters can, but most fighters can't. Because I know I was one of those fighters that I did I did well with myself. I never recall listening to my corner. You know, I would fight. Sometimes somebody in the fans would say, throw a right cross, blah, blah, blah. And I would do that. My corners would be saying the opposite. And I wouldn't do that at all. So it does help some people.
Yeah, I just had him on the podcast right before the fight. It was had him on Monday, the Monday before his fight. So that's when he was talking about all that and kind of explaining it. And I was curious how it would turn out. And, you know, a lot of people bashed him because he didn't have the coaches in his corner and vice versa. But I agree with you in regards to it's not a yes or no answer. Every fighter's different. And, like, for me, like, I listen to everything you guys say, but there's a lot of things I just tune out because, like, the situation I'm in there, maybe, you know, you obviously have the ability to see things I don't see. So I want to know those things. Yeah. If he's landing something that I don't see, like the Hardy fight, he kept landing that hook or on the ground or something like that. No, I want to have that extra eye. But then sometimes you're tired, or the guy's stronger than you, and that was part of the game plan, or he has better wrestling or something like that, and you can't do what the corner says. So I'm good at tuning out and listening and tuning out and listening. But I think some fighters that might get overran by corners, like him, he might perform better just to let him go do his thing. And just, you know, have fun and not have to stress over listening to your corner and judging if they're right, if they're wrong, what to do. Yeah. And like he said, he was getting annoyed because a lot of the times the corner would say things after he already did it. So he's like elbowing the guy, and then the corner saying elbow the guy, and he's just like, dude. So
he knows the man knows what he's doing. He's in control of himself, and I think that he'll experiment more. And hey, whatever he wants to do, let him do it. You know. If he's successful, it's on him. If it's not successful, it's on him. You know, But either way, you know, he's proven he can do it correctly. Like, you remember the case with you? I don't know who it was you fought. I believe that Brazilian guy that was a police officer.
Paulo Thiago.
Yeah, Thiago. Yeah, you dropped him and you went after him. And I'm screaming, no! You know, like, don't go after him. And boy, you ran into him. Boom, you know. But it was like, it was one of those things where you're a fighter that you need to listen. And when you listen, you did unbelievable. Unfucking believable. I mean, look at all the exciting fights you've had. I mean, you knock people out quick, you know, and I mean, you changed your Kid Lion to Mike Quick Swick, right? Because you're knocking people out quick as hell, you know. So, but there's other people that no matter what I would say, they're not going to listen.
Yeah.
You know, and they're gonna do great. I can say no, and all of a sudden they do better because I said no and they did it, and they'll do better. You're the case where if Bob and I say something, don't do it. You know, you do better when we tell you. You understand? That's the majority of the fighters out there. You know, Daniel's the same way. When Daniel doesn't listen to us, things don't go his way. Cain Velasquez, it's the same thing with him. He did listen to us all the time, but sometimes things just didn't go his way, regardless of doing the right thing. You know.
Yeah, and you know, I think Thompson. I just saw a piece of his podcast, and I think he had a good point and some advice towards that in regards to if you don't need your entire corner, like if you don't need so many, it isn't a bad idea with the fighters right now worrying about. You know, obviously, everybody wants to make more money and have more success and stuff. It's not a bad idea to bring a sponsor that just doesn't say anything. Because you know how many people that have a lot of money that would kill and pay a lot of money to come and be in a corner of a fighter. Like if you have two main corners that you use and that you trust and that you need, and you don't really need that third corner, it wasn't a bad idea from him to like say grab a sponsor, grab somebody to come out there with you.
It's not a bad idea, but this is the problems, okay?
If they don't talk.
These all the time. Then you got the coaches that are training you on a daily basis, and they're trying to get their name out there, and they want the limelight. They want to feel the nerves and this and that, and you're telling them that they're not worthy. They're worthy enough to train you, but they're not worthy enough to be in your corner. Yeah. As you know, something like that happened with you.
Yeah.
You know,
I've had a friend in my corner one time.
Then you got those issues, and you don't need those issues because you want to be, your mind wants to be strong, you know. So if you're going to do something like that, like if Mike Perry's going to do something like that, then I highly suggest that he self-train himself and pay people for their time and let them know, hey, I'm going to have my girl work the corner. I'm just going to use you for this. Are you cool? You cool? Make a deal, and then you got no problems. But you can't put a guy in a situation where they think they're going to work your corner. All of a sudden, they're working you, and all of a sudden, oh, you're not working my corner. So-and-so's working my corner. You're like, they're gonna go like, okay,
yeah, of course.
well, see if I want to work you again. They don't want to work you no more. You know, they don't, because they want that. See, a lot of coaches, they want to be in that situation where if they're training you, they want to see their craft that they did. They want to be there present to observe it. You know, if some coaches, they'll stay back because they've done it so much, and they want other people getting opportunities. But most of the coaches, they want to be there. They want to be there when they're training somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what Perry did was kind of genius in the fact that I felt like he had this fight and didn't want distractions and didn't really have coaches anyway, and it got him a lot of extra press by putting his girl in there. So it built his star power a little bit to go out there and then have a great performance.
It did a better deal for him. More interest.
Yeah. And to go out there and dominate on the ground against a black belt was pretty damn solid. I never would have expected that, you know?
Yeah. He did a solid performance, bro. I was impressed with him, and he's a fun fight, you know, and I just don't know about Darren Till and him, though. I don't know what's going on between those guys, but
you know what's crazy?
Know he says if you've seen him, he'll go take it on the street with that guy. So
yeah, he's got to not do that.
I don't know.
You know what's crazy?
Just yet.
I did the podcast with them, and you know how my podcast, I'm not trying to get controversy. I'm definitely not trying to get in people's heads and stuff. This is like fun for me, and I enjoy doing them. And it's not my job. I have a business and everything, but I enjoy doing these. But I had a podcast with them, and my podcast is always trying to get information that people want, like inspirational stuff, information that people want about fighters, like who they are, where they came from, like who they really are, not just about how hard they're training and what they're doing to prepare for a fight. That's for everybody else. So I dug kind of deep in with Perry when we had the podcast, and I had to mention Darren Till only because Darren and Michael Bisping was still talking trash about him and trying to get under his skin. And I didn't know Mike Perry. So I thought maybe he would just, because he said so many outlandish things and crazy stuff. I figured he would just say something funny like, screw that guy, blah, 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 and just we'd move on. But when I mentioned Darren Till, he got super sensitive and angry, and he had that big soundbite on my podcast that went viral that everybody used and put on their website, and it went crazy.
So I got it from your viral. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is was so I even understood at the moment. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to get this guy shook up a week before his fight about talking about another fight. I just thought it was going to be a quick soundbite, and we were joking afterwards, and I apologized. I was like, man, I'm sorry again about that Darren Till comment. I had no idea that it was that sensitive for you, and then he was cool, and we got along fine, and the podcast ended great. He promoted it, and it went out, and we covered everything. We covered the fact that Latori's going to be in his corner. We covered the fact that he wasn't using many of coaches, and he was training at multiple gyms. We covered the Darren Till thing, which went viral, of which I never promoted. So even on the highlight video I made with Mike Perry, all the clips I made and put on Instagram, I never used that clip because I knew that bothered him, and obviously that's going to help build up his next fight if he fights Till. But the crazy thing was Ariel, and I love Ariel, don't get me wrong, but Ariel then does the podcast with Mike Perry 5 days later, and he asked him the same questions that I did, and he had to have seen. I mean, he wouldn't be a good reporter if he didn't see that clip of Mike Perry going off on Darren Till, because it was everywhere. It was on every single site. I mean, he went crazy when I mentioned Darren Till. And not only did he confirm about the corner and all the other stuff that I already did 4 days prior, and he's like, it's official. He's going to have no corner except his girlfriend and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, it was official 4 days ago when I did the podcast. But anyway, the point was, it was just funny. But then he went in there and asked him the same thing. And that I thought was a little weak, because here it is the day before the weigh-ins, and he already knew that he got really pissed off about it, and he was bothered by it, and it had that huge reaction. But he had to ask him, and then he didn't even ask him right. He said something like, I know y'all were friends, and now he's talking a bunch of trash and all this, and all this stuff is getting hyped up now. What do you think about it? And of course, Mike Perry was like, we were never friends. I don't know what you're talking about. And then Mike Perry just hung up on him, shut the interview off. And then Ariel put I think a picture of him smoking a joint behind him or something. It was weird, man, but it was just I thought that was bad taste, because I felt bad a week before the fight bringing it up, and I didn't even know it was going to make him mad. But the fact that he brought it up knowing it was going to make him mad the day before his weigh-in, when that wasn't even the guy he was fighting, I don't know. I thought that was a little weak, but yeah, I just had to say that piece.
Well, let me tell you about Ariel. He's a master at bringing up the fire dirt, what I call fire dirt, things that get you all riled up and pissed off. And either love him or hate him, but he was going to get that fire dirt.
Yeah, he did.
You know, I did an interview. The first time I experienced with him, I did an interview with him about Herschel Walker, and it was in Florida, and we were talking about the fights and how he's talking about Herschel.
Yeah.
Then he hit me with that barn burner of a question that I didn't know where it was coming from. He goes, "Hey, so by the way, what do you think about teammates fighting each other?" You know, and I'm like,
I remember this. It was headlines.
I said, if one's a champion, the other one's a number one mandatory contender, I guess the fans would want to see it. I guess they can fight. And he goes, really? He goes, yeah. So, man, little did I know. And next thing you know, I got ripped big time on a phone conversation by one of the so-called fighters involved in that.
Yeah.
So pissed off at me. And I'm like, I didn't take it back. I said, no, I don't take back what I said. I said it and I meant it. If one of you guys is a champion, and I said none of you guys are a champion at the present time, so ain't nothing to worry about it. And I said, number one, you have to be a number one contender. I goes, if you two guys fought right now, willingly fought, I'd kick you both out of the gym, or if you both agreed, or if the one that didn't agree and the other one did agree, I'd kick him out, because it's not going to happen. We'll destroy the gym. You know, and it went like that. But Ariel caught me on that one, and he caught me again, and then he catches me again with stuff. And finally I realized, I go, that son of a bitch. I go, and I said,
I mean, he does his job, and unfortunately his job, it's like a...
I go, I'm on, yeah, I called Ariel, I said, Ariel, I'm on to you. He goes, what are you talking about? It's all good, buddy. I'm on to you. I got you. And you know what, Swick? He hasn't got me once since. Yeah. I'm on to his ass. I'm ready for any time
he needs you.
Interview. I'm ready for his ass.
He needs you. He's going to push as far as he can, but he's not going to push too far because he needs you. He doesn't want to burn that bridge. He knows he's going to want to talk to you again before.
No. He'll trust me. He'll do it because he's a great reporter. But I'm on to his ass. He ain't catching me.
Yeah.
He got me in hot water a lot of times. He ain't getting me no more. Not getting me. I mean, I love the guy, but I gotta watch it when I do interviews with him because it's coming, man. And he's tried stuff like not interviews, but he's tried talking off the record on things. And I knew he's trying to get me at me from left field, and I'm like acting like I don't know. And I play his game. He hasn't got me since, not once, and it's been a few years. And he ain't getting me. You hear that?
Yeah, and I mean he's a good guy, and
not getting me.
And the thing is, but he does definitely do that. I thought that was in bad taste before the fight. But that being said, I mean he didn't. The reason I didn't like the fact that he did that was because I already kind of had that soundbite done. I'm not trying to take credit for it, but at least it was out there. So it's like it's already done. So like you're not going to get anything better than what was already out there. So just don't mess with him before his fight. But in the end, it's going to help. You know, at least my soundbite was because it's going to build his fight with Darren Till.
Yeah.
So fighters have to get used to dealing with that kind of stuff because it is a pain in the ass if you're focused and you're trying to do something and someone hits you, you know, like he does. But in the end, it does build your it power to people and make you interesting and create interest in fights. So there's always that too, you know.
You want that to happen to you all the time, to be honest with you. You want everybody stealing your stuff. You really, really do. You do. Trust me, you do. You and Ariel's stealing that. Good. Hopefully somebody else takes this. Good. Okay. Somebody else takes that. Good. You want that because that means people are paying attention to what you're saying, and everything you do is great. You never badmouth anybody. You have a clean cut image of this. Ariel's not clean cut by any means. He's sneaky. He comes around and he goes at the nitty gritty of the big fire. You know what's going to create the fire? What's going to create the buzz? He goes right to the jugular on that. He's the best at it. He's the best at it, but he's not the best at it just by being natural at it. He's definitely natural, but he works for it. He gets those infos and he gets his calls and he sets you up, man. He's a master at that. That's why he's always winning the Journalist of the Year award every time. I don't ever see that guy getting beat compared to everybody else I've been involved with. He's still the best. Yeah. He's still the best. And you know, I love the guy. I think he's great. I think he's fantastic, you know, and I would interview with him anytime I could. Sometimes I can't for reasons, whatever. I can't. You
just got to be careful. That's all.
I would interview with him. I would interview with him every time if I could. And I just know one thing: stay on your toes. Stay on your toes. You got to learn to bob and weave and duck. Got to duck, and sometimes you got to duck when you don't see the punch coming. Yeah, because that's what you need to do with Arrow. You got to duck.
Yeah, he's clever, man. He's clever, but that's his job. You know, it's like a district attorney or something. Like, you know, they do their job, and he's good at it, and that's why he's the best. And he does a lot of good too. Obviously, he's helped promote me and promote my career, and But yeah, he's definitely fighters have to be aware when they talk to the media. And it's funny you mentioned it because like you were at the back end of a bunch of different headlines throughout my career, not on me, but just with the time I was with you in the UFC with miscellaneous fighters from the team, because you would say one little thing in an interview. And I remember Koscheck one time, it was a big deal with Koscheck. And it was just like you'd say one little thing, and then I think you said Koscheck doesn't listen to his coaches or something. And then that was like the whole headline when you were just basically saying like he doesn't always listen to what we say or something. It was something minute. But it's like you have to be careful when you do these interviews as fighters because like they will use anything they can.
And he had a right to be pissed at me. Not the champion thing. He didn't have a right to be pissed about that because I still hold my ground on that. But he had a right about some other things. He was 100% correct. And he talked to me and he said, "Hey, you don't protect me. You don't protect us." And I'm like, "But I tell the truth." And I went, "Shit, he's right. He's so right." It's like, so I need to protect him. That's my job. And he helped me become a better coach by arguing with me and getting pissed at me and hating me for certain things that I did. And he wasn't wrong, man. He wasn't wrong. I thought about things. I went, you know what? He's right. I'm the coach. I should take the dagger. I should always take the dagger no matter what. It's my team. So take the dagger, even if it's not your fault. It doesn't matter. You're the head guy. So anything that happens, knowing or unknowing, you got to take the dagger, and you got to protect the image of your guys, and I have done that, and I do regret what I did to him, and if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't do what I did with him. I would have acted more as a head coach, and at that particular time, I didn't act as a head coach would have, and for that I feel bad, but it is what it is, you got to move forward. You can't look at the spilled milk. You got to make sure you don't spill any more on the way up.
Yeah.
That's what I've done really well. I haven't spilled very much, or I'm very careful what I spill.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, your experience for sure. I want to talk about DC real fast, but obviously I want to talk about his training and where his mindset is and how he's juggling that with all these other duties, being that he's a commentator, analyst, and doing all this podcasts and doing so many other things. But am I wrong in thinking, okay, so the fight with Stipe, I feel like that's such an, I wouldn't say an easy fight, but I would say a winnable fight if he fought to win the proper way, like as far as like if he went out there and just did it, what it took to win that fight using his style, I feel like it would be just a win-win. And okay, I'll say it, an easier win than what people would think. But it seems like he's such a fighter. He goes out there and he wants to mix it up and do a lot of different things, which makes him susceptible, which makes it where maybe Stipe now has a better chance, or at least a chance to hang and make it competitive, or as we saw, possibly beat him. How are you keeping him without giving away the training? How are you going to keep him for this fight, because it might be his last or whatever, we don't know, but to where he's going to go out there and do what he needs to do? Because I just feel 100% he can beat Stipe if he sticks to the game plan of where he's the best and doesn't try to do anything to, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He has the tools to beat Stipe 9 out of 10 times. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it with him is he fought the first round perfect, the way we planned. And he comes back in the corner. I said, "That's perfect. I want another one like that." Well, he didn't give me that. He gives me a stand-up fight. With,
that's the thing, yeah.
More boxing than kickboxing. A little bit of kicking, but mostly boxing. And then I go, what do we talk about? I need you to go back to the round one. Please go back to the wrestling. Then in the third round, what does he do? He gives me nothing but boxing. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And then Stipe, to his credit, landed a beautiful body shot.
Yeah.
And felt the home run from there and kept landing and landing. And that's what, you know what? That's what champions do. And that's what he did. He adjusted. Yeah. And he hit that beautiful shot, and he kept hitting it. And now they're 1-for-1, both incredible fights. And now they're going to go a third time. So what I do with DC is I have the coaches. I say, hey, this is our plan. We need to talk about this. We need to discuss this. And we see him doing this. We got to talk to him. Yeah. We got to tell him this is not what we want. This is what we're discussing. So the fights always change every single time. If you think it's the same fight every time and you prepare for the same fight, that's not correct. Yep. They change. They're not necessarily a complete change, but you got to add or take things away, because if you don't, you're not properly prepared. So for DC, we're preparing them mentally and physically. And myself, Leandro Vieira, Crazy Bob Cook, and the Rudy Mendoza and Rosendo Sanchez. We're all chipping in on that and getting them dialed in, So he's on track. He knows what he wants, and he knows he screwed up. And another thing too, in all fairness, he just had back surgery, and he wasn't quite right the way he needed to be. And the kind of back surgery he had takes a little bit of time for the back and mobility to be there. So last time we played catch up. We had played catch up on his back. But in all fairness too, as you know, as fighters, there's always something going wrong, right?
Yeah.
Something's always not quite right. Sometimes you get a perfect camp. Most of the time you don't. Something happens. But then you got a perfect performance, So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But in DC's case, this one, he'll have a great back. His back could be fantastic. He's already showing that in his sparring and his grappling. But, we're expecting a war because, if you don't expect a war with a great fighter like Stipe, you're stupid.
Yeah.
That guy's a champion for a reason, and he's got a few losses, and he knows how to adjust. Look what he did with Ngannou. He adjusted. He saw the power of that guy, and he adjusted really well. So Stipe is a great fighter and he's a great champion for a reason. So if we don't adjust to what he has, then we're in trouble. So we work with DC, especially me. I'm the number one guy for working the mental thing and what you should go and how you should do it. I do it all the time. I've been doing it forever, and I always hit certain points. And with DC, I hit a lot of certain points with him. Like with Dan Henderson, I would say to him, I go, hey, you want to make it a tough fight? You want to make it an easy fight? If you want to make it a tough fight with him, I go, stand with him. And I go, then you're going to make it a tough fight. I go, you want to make it an easy fight? Wrestle him. I go, he can't handle your wrestling. So, I told DC again, over and over, then right come fight time, I said, what are you going to do? He goes, you're going to stand or you're going to take him down? He goes, I'm going to wrestle the fuck out of him, Hob. What does he do to Hendo? He goes out and wrestles the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Because that was the best way to beat Hendo. Standing with him, that H-bomb could have landed. It could have been bye-bye, DC. So you understand? So that's how you mentally work on a fighter. You work with them way before. And then you up to that fight, you got to work with them. That's why I do like Gaethje's coach, because he said to him, remember he was going and he told him, he knew Gaethje was going to try to go for the kill. And he said, remember what happened last time? 2 times before that.
Yeah.
Stay relaxed, stay calm. That was beautiful. That's a great coach.
Good coaching.
You got to listen to people like that. That's where guys like me, a coach like that, I could never use because I wouldn't listen to him.
Yeah.
But guys like you need a coach like that that can tell you, because me, I was going to do what I was going to do. That's just the way it is. But not many people like me. So I think Mike Perry's that way. Like I said, he's just going to do what he's going to do. Let him do it. If he's comfortable, let him do it. He's going to give you a great fight.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And maybe I'm biased, but I honestly feel that the only reason DC's lost the fights that he's lost is because he's a fighter. He's a fighter and wants to go out there and fight. And I will stick to that till I will bet anything on that. Like if there's a way to prove that 100%, like I feel every single loss. Now I know you can lose from a punch or whatever the case, and of course he threw it and landed it, the body shot, whatever. But it's like I feel like every loss he's had overall was because he went out there and he's just a fighter at heart and wants to fight, versus playing it safe. If he wanted to play it safe and just go out there and get the win, I don't think anybody would have beat him. That's what I'm trying to say.
He doesn't play it safe.
But he doesn't want to be a boring, safe fighter.
Like the second fight with Jones. I mean, he was doing great. We were happy. We were like, yes, finally. Then he started getting cocky.
Yeah.
Crazy Bob and I were losing it. We're going, no, don't go back to what you were doing.
It's that fighter ego.
All of a sudden, that unbelievable great kick, man. That was an unbelievable kick he threw, and it was like boom, and I'm like, my heart broke because we were doing so perfect. We had the perfect game plan till DC got cocky, and he thought he had it in the bag. But Bob and I knew no way. A great fighter like Jones, you don't have in the bag, dude. You stick your hands up to the very end. If you remember the first fight with Jones and him, the reason why I know you never give up on Jones is, remember when Jones at the very end of the 5th round raised his hands like this, like the fight was over? DC dropped his hands, Jones popped them.
Yeah.
That's the kind of fighter he'll do. He'll do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
And even though the fight was over in his favor, he still did that. He still did that. And DC picked him up in the fifth round and was going to throw him. He grabbed the cage.
Yeah.
He grabbed the cage so he couldn't get thrown. He didn't want to lose that last round.
Yeah.
He didn't want to lose that last round. So the guys like that, if you're not on your toes all the time, you're going to get it. So there's a reason why he's so great. He ain't quitting. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. And DC tries to get you at your own game, and that's what he's undoing sometimes. He needs to use his strength, and that's what you're talking about. That's why you're not wrong. You're 100% correct. And all you got to do is watch DC's fights, and I'll tell you how you understand Gustafsson fight. He comes in there, he does exactly what we want him to do, and then Gustafsson at the end of the first round hits him with a beautiful knee.
Yeah.
At the end of the first round, hits him with a beautiful knee, and then DC comes back to the corner. Bob and I are telling him, okay, now we want you to stand the same thing, this and that. But hell no, that was it. He hit him. He hit him with that knee. DC wasn't going to have any of that. So he halfway tried to take his ass down, and he just slugged it out with him, and we were like screaming our heads off. Like, but DC was going to have it his way. He hit him with the knee. He wanted to pay him back. He wanted to pay him back, and it wasn't a matter about winning now. It's about getting him back, but not with wrestling, getting him back with punching and striking, because that's what he got hit with. And that's DC, the competitor in him. And that's not the smart way. The smart way is, for him, would have been to listen to Crazy Bob and myself on the ones he didn't get going his way. But he didn't, and he knows it. So here we are. He's still an opportunity. And no matter what happens with this fight, I think you can all agree, he's one of the greatest to ever have done it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like we talked about the downside. When you go out there and you fight like a fighter, you can get caught and beat or whatever. But the upside is you can go out there as a wrestler, an Olympic wrestler, and knock out a striker that's a heavyweight champion of the world and get a knockout and just blow everybody's minds. So that's kind of like that good and bad that you have to like contemplate as a fighter. And that's why DC, he's going for the glory. He's going for those big wins. He's going for that, he's going to prove that he can shock the world every time. And so unfortunately, it makes the fights more competitive, I think, than they could be, because he's such a talented fighter at his style, like just beyond crazy.
Correct. Well, Khabib does the same thing to me. He wants to fight me all the time. He listens
to you, though. He listens to you most of the time.
He listens to me, not all the time.
But most of the time.
He listens most of the. He listened. I'll tell you what he listened to. He listened with the Dustin Poirier fight.
Yeah.
Come 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But you know what? Who was there? This is the first time I cornered with his father.
Yeah.
Who was there?
Yeah.
So that's why I went. When before that, though, with Conor in the third round, he decided he wanted to stand. No, he didn't care about what I said. He just wanted to stand with Conor. And guess what he did? He stood with Conor. And he almost beat Conor. It was so damn close, the third round, just striking only. He didn't want to take him down. He wanted to stand with him. When he won the title against Aliakbari, I told him before the fight, I never saw any video of Aliakbari because we didn't know who we were going to fight. At that point, we didn't know who it was going to be. So I didn't want to watch any video of anybody until I knew who we were going to watch. So we got Al, and then I watched Al, and I went, oh, crap. I go, Khabib, listen, you're going to hit this guy very easily. You're going to be able to outstrike this guy, but he can take a good shot, and he can corner you into suckering you. So I don't want you getting caught with anything hard from him. So please don't get stuck hitting this guy, because you can hit him, because he can take it and he can give it back, and he hits hard. I go, so I don't want you to get stuck doing that. Well, what does Khabib do? Watch the fight.
Yeah.
He gets Muhammad Ali happy. And then I go, well, what the hell was that all about? He goes, well, coach, I was watching Muhammad Ali tapes. So I was kidding. That's why I was jabbing him a lot, because I was watching Muhammad Ali tapes before. I go, was it bad? I go, well, no, it wasn't bad. I go, but, I told you he would be easy to hit. But he sometimes does it on purpose because he's setting you up.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But Khabib was standing. He didn't listen to me. And then I told him in the fifth round, I said to him, I go, okay, so it's obvious you're not going to listen to father's plan. I go, so do me a favor. Do what you want and do what I want in the fifth round, and then watch the fight. Fifth round, he comes out there, and he starts doing his thing standing, then all of a sudden he takes him down, what I wanted.
Yeah.
And then that's when I'm more comfortable when he takes people down, bro.
Well, of course.
I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm not comfortable with his stand-up. His stand-up is really, really good. People don't realize how good
and
his
that's the thing,
stand-up is.
Not to interrupt you, but you say that, and I think some people hear that and they're like, oh, his stand-up is bad, because in the beginning he had more stiff stand-up, and that's what people saw because he used it a little bit in the beginning of his UFC career. And they hear you sometimes in interviews, or maybe right now, saying you don't want him to do stand-up, but in reality, like, you don't want him to do stand-up because his grappling is so ridiculously dominant, but his stand-up is good. It's good. Like, I watch him, and you obviously know it's not like you're saying it because he has bad stand-up.
You're correct, and I'm going to say it right here, right now. If Khabib wanted to become a champion, just stand up and a little bit of takedowns, guess what? In my heart, and what I know, what I have in him, he'll be a champion doing it, but it's going to take a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my thing is, why take the abuse when you don't have to? I say, when we can deal with people on the ground the way he does, why the hell do I want him getting hit? You know, it's like, it's stupid. Like, I'll give you one guy, first time ever he got rocked a teeny bit, Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson hit him with a left cross, beautiful, straight down the pipe. Habib's knee buckled a little bit. Habib says, I wasn't her, coach. I go, yeah, you were. He hit you, and you might not have felt it, but your knee buckled. He goes, no, coach. I go, yeah. I go, that's why I don't want that. So then right after Michael buckled him, then he went into the plan and took him down. That's why I'm saying Habib don't listen to me. He does not. I don't want people to think everything I say he does bullshit.
Sometimes, though, and more than others.
He does a lot what he wants. But when he listens to me, he does great.
Yeah.
You know, when he does his own thing, he does good too. Don't get me wrong. He does real good. But then sometimes that's when he gets nailed a little bit. He lost his one round with Conor, but that was a close round, though. It was a very close round. It was debatable whether he actually really lost that round. I thought he did, but you know what? If someone said, no, Khabib won that round, I go, well, yeah, maybe. But that's how these guys are. They're gonna do what they want to do, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and losing one.
And who am I to talk? I never listen to anybody.
Yeah, and losing one round in almost 30 fights is not the worst thing in the world.
No.
So real fast, who, in your opinion, is your next world champion? Who do you have that you see has the best potential as of right now as being the next world champion fighter?
The guys in the gym?
Yep.
It's hard to choose. There's a few good ones, you know. There's
so that's the closest right now. The
closest to a world title, I think, is Ed Ruth.
Yeah.
Ed Ruth. He's got some things to clean up. But I think he's the closest to a world title. I can see him becoming a world champion. Yeah. I think he got pushed a little bit sooner than he should have, but regardless, he's a talent, and he's improving all the time. And I've been taking a lot of interest in him and helping him out. And Ed's his own guy, so he does his own training. I don't really work with him on the mix, but I work with him, guiding him, and along with other coaches, Ron Kessler, his jiu-jitsu coach. We all help him, and he's improving quite a bit. I would say Ed Ruth is really close to a world title. He could be one fight away for Bellator champ. One fight away. After the next fight, he could fight for the title. Mm-hmm. He's that good.
Yeah.
But then again, he still needs some work.
Yeah, and just because you're the best sports combat trainer in the world, for young fighters watching the podcast, what we've seen, 15 years together or however long it's been, I don't even know right now, coming through AKA, we've seen the fighters that came in that didn't make it and quit. We've seen the fighters that came in that just never made it to the next level, and they were just basically the guys that helped the main guys, and they just kind of like plateaued the whole time. Then we've seen the guys that made it to become champions and stars. What would you say is your biggest advice to young fighters coming in so that they can maximize finding out if they have what it takes to be a world champion, and B, getting there and the fastest way possible?
Well, never give up on yourself if you believe in yourself, because you can make it. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to be, I hate to say it, but to a big degree, you have to be very cocky. You don't have to, show it outside and keep it inside, but you have to be very cocky in order to be successful. If you're not cocky in the inside, I don't know how far you're going to go. You got to believe in yourself, and that's one of the things. Now, cocky outside, that's not too favorable, but that's still good because it's still cocky. But you can't give up on your dreams and what you want. And a perfect example I'll use is John Fitch. John Fitch, when he first came, he didn't have the greatest talent. He learned to never take no as no.
Yeah.
He got a no. He goes, whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll
kept
get
grinding.
There. Remember, he was going to the Ultimate Fighter with all you guys.
Yep.
There was 3 of you guys already: Bobby Southworth, Josh Koscheck, and you, and him.
Yep.
He was in the airport.
Yeah, I was with him.
He got told, go home.
Yeah.
His luggage made it to Vegas, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't give up on himself. He comes back, and he has one-legged guy, a one-legged guy to train with in MMA. Guess what he does? He trains with him. He racks up the wins. He gets in the UFC. He destroys the vast majority of the people he's fed. He is one of the pioneers of the grind, where he just shows a guy that never gives up. And John Fitch is an inspiration for anybody that says, well, it's a hard road, and I don't got the easy road like some guys. But John Fitch didn't have it easy. He didn't have me with him. He didn't have a lot of the people that needed to give him the push. Yeah. He basically did it on his own will, his own desire, and his own never quit attitude, and that man, I'm very proud. And I always say to people, he's actually one of my proudest achievements. It's not because that I helped him along the way. I rarely helped the man. It's because he made it without my help that I was so proud of him. And he's one of the guys I said, he didn't take a word as okay, Hobbs says no or Bob says no, so I'm done. No, he said, screw you guys. I'm still going to get there. I'm going to make it. And he did. So for the young guys out there, very important to pick a sound team, and you need to make sure, if you want to be an MMA fighter, you better go to a place that has MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Okay. And how successful is how successful they are. So if you want to be successful, then you better really go to a gym that has successful fighters, because iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
Even if you have shitty coaches, iron sharpens iron. So they're doing something good. So if you go to a winning camp, guess what? You got the advantage of the winning attitude, the winning players to get to train with, the winning techniques. So it's all positive for you. When you don't go to a winning camp and you go to a camp that doesn't really have any fighters, man, you're really, that's a hell of a struggle.
Yeah.
Hell of a struggle. You need to go to a camp or a short circle that's all helping you get pushed.
Yep.
That would be my advice.
I agree with you 100%. Like business, surround yourself with people that are more successful, that bring you up. It's the same thing with fighters, and you shouldn't be the best fighter at your gym at a low level. Like at AKA, the best fighters at the gym are the world champions. You know what I mean? They're the best fighters in the world. You know what I mean? So it's like, and everybody else is getting pushed by better fighters all the way up. Yes. And I think that's perfectly worded. I think that's a great advice. And that's what we're doing now. Also, we're trying to build the fight team up, as you know, here at AKA Thailand, and sending you our talent too. Manel Kape, you're gonna love him. He's a great fighter. He's very charismatic. He's a star boy. He's got that, like Conor McGregor. You spend all of his money on Gucci and Louis Vuitton, he's one of those guys. He grew up poor.
I hope he still has money.
He grew up poor and didn't have like money to buy shoes and stuff. So like now he spends his money on like every Gucci, Louis Vuitton shoe and clothes, and so he might need a little financial advice at some point when he starts making the money, and then probably tax advice too. I don't know how well he's versed in taxes, but when are you going to be able to get a break? I mean, obviously we don't know when everything's opening, but when do you think the timeline is that we can get you back out here to AKA Thailand again?
And I don't know. I mean, I'd like to sometime next year. It's going to be a whole year. Because my gym is, man, the way things are going right now, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I don't know when. I'm going to probably next year sometime. And hopefully I don't get sick like I did last time, man. That was horrible. I was like, man, that's just coughing like crazy, over there. Not thinking maybe, I had COVID, but the kind of coughing I had was nothing like what I hear from everybody. I mean, that coughing was uncontrollable, man. I hurt my ribs. I was coughing so bad. I hurt my ribs. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't sleep because I coughing like crazy.
Maybe
I
you had it.
Fever. But mostly the coughing is what was murder.
Maybe you had it or something, because like, you know what's weird is we don't see a lot of like the coughing colds here in Thailand for some reason. If people get sick here, usually it's because they ate bad food or it's like a stomach bug or something like that. But we don't see as many colds as we do in America. Like there's not a lot of people coughing and sniffing too much.
I mean, I didn't hear anybody coughing when I was in.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
And then the all the pills and everything I took didn't work. Nothing worked. Nothing. And I was like, man, this is ridiculous. You know, cough syrup didn't work. Nothing worked. Nothing. You know, and it was just nuts, bro. I was like, but again, it was in December. So I'm like thinking, no, this stuff didn't start happening until after. But I'm thinking, is it possible? I don't know. I've never been tested, but I'm looking forward to the DC fight. Then I'll get tested. Then I'll know if for some reason maybe I did have it before. I don't think so, though. No. I don't think so. I've heard from people that have had it. They said it was they wanted to die, so I'm thinking, okay, I didn't want to die.
I think it's like,
but I just had an uncontrollable cough.
I think it's like 80% of people are asymptomatic though, so they don't have any symptoms. So I think there's levels of it. So you could have had it and even had it in a kind of a bad state because you were coughing really bad. There's a ton of people that got tested that had no symptoms at all. So you might have had it.
How bad I was.
Well, thanks for coming back on the podcast. You're my favorite guest that just comes back the most. And it's always great talking to you and getting some insight. And hopefully I got some good points for young fighters watching to help them out as well. And I hope the best for you. I hope that you open the gym soon and get back to normal. And I hope the same for us. And we can just get this thing moving forward again and get life back. It sucks. This is just a shitty situation around the world right now.
Yeah, it's shitty, very shitty. Thanks for having me. I love talking to you, and you're keep doing what you're doing, man. You got something great going.
All right, thanks for doing the show, Hav. I appreciate it, and good talking to you, buddy.
All right, thanks for having me, Swick. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Bye.
All right, there you have it, Javier Mendez. What a great conversation. I love having him on the show. One of my best friends, obviously a business partner as well. And it's just always great talking to him. And I'm glad that we can have a conversation like we did today and share it with you guys. I think we gave some great insight on Team AK at the headquarters, and then Khabib and what's going on with him and DC, and broke down a lot of stuff. So hopefully you can take a lot from that. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Also, if you're listening on the audio platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, subscribe there as well. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.